Hello and welcome to this talk here from the Stage Media, TSM for short. My name is Seyo Watosin, your special Liberia English friend. The TSM is that group that is in the business of checking out facts, checking out what people put outside, either on the social media or in newspaper, and breaking the one that is true to you and not the false one. This internet that open is a big place, a wide place where people can use to throw all kinds of things. Things that will either confuse you, sometimes they will tell you, come and play a game, you win, and when you believe that, they tell you to, on your computer, click on this and click on that. By the time you go to, you enter hell of a trouble. Then your whole information is now open, and they will steal up everything from you. This thing has been going on for a long time. Plenty of people been holding their head to cry because of what these people do to them. So let us settle down and come and give you the story, some of the story that be on internet that people want you to believe. TSM finished picking out all the fat from them, and this is what we want you to know. Let us start. In 2022, talk came on and said the number 2 big person for the government of Liberia, the vice president, talk this one here. They say the vice president said Liberia was the first country in West Africa to put their record, the people checking record, what they call census, to put it on computer. The news came about and said that the vice president talked this one here. The Stage Media went in something like this here and found out some of the things where the news people say the vice president talk, some that are true and some not true. This is how it happened. The vice president of Liberia, is the big person for the lawmaker House of Senators. These people, they were on vacation, and when the vacation time finished, they came back. And to be able to start their work, there can be a big program. So it is that program that the vice president went there to talk to, and was talking to them to welcome them back. And she said this thing, that Liberia was the first country to put this sensor here on the computer, or what they call to digitize it. So when this story came up, State Media wanted to find out whether this thing was true or it's not true. State Media checked and found out that no, that thing where the VP talks some of it is not true and some is true. But here is a part that is not true. In Africa here, countries in Southern Africa and other places in Africa, they were the first to put their record, what they call census, on the computer, or what they call to digitize it. These countries then, for example, the South Africa, Malawi, Swaziland, they do their thing from 2017 to 2020. Ghana in West Africa was the first to put the sensor on computer. So on this one, the vice president wrong to say Liberia was the first. But the vice president was right to say, so it's true. It was the first time that Liberia decided to put her sensor on the computer. Other talk came up to say there is a song for Nimba County. The Nimba County and other counties then were in football competition, what they call the county meet. And then the people put a song outside. And when they were playing this song here, they went to work and put President George Weah picture around it. Then they started to say that President George Weah sang that song for Nimba County. TSM decided to check. And when they went to check, they found out that it is not true. President George Weah ain't sing no song for Nimba County. But there is a Nimba fellow who in the United States, they call Obadiah Tokpa, who sang that song for Nimba. And he sang this song here in 2020. In nowadays, few times. In fact, TSM even finished finding out that Tokpa was even telling the people who were running that song to try to give him credit, and when I give the credit to the president, because they're not president, we are saying that song. One more story came up as the time was going on. Newspaper and even on the internet to say that the Liberia women football team will not be taking part in the competition for West Africa, what they call WAFU, and the one year is going to be taking place in one country they call Cape Verde. So TSM decided to check to know whether the story was not true or it was true. One fellow in Liberia they call Martin Colley even said read it on his Facebook page So when TSM decided to find out, they talked to plenty people. One of them, the Koluba Zeze, he is the big person for the group of news people who can write on sports or football matters in Liberia here. And he said it is true Liberia woman football team will not be taking part, all because the government said they didn't get money. The story there that woman football team will not be joining their friend in Cape Verde is true. One more story came out that TSM want you to know. This story here, they say the LEC current is now reduced to 15 cents. Is this one here really true? So TSM to find out this one here. The news that came out say in 2017, the LEC current price was 39 cents. But today, under President George Weah, the current now is 15 cents. This story, someone put it on the internet. They call this person here Priska Paul and talk this one and started to carry this story around. Priska Paul, if he said go to work and put the LEC whole price page on current, how it was looking and how it not looking. But TSM went to check this one here to find out whether they see where the people talk that the current came down to 15 cents under President Weah, or whether this one here that true or it not true. Check, they find out that the story, some of it true and some of it not true. The one that is true is that, yes, it is true that in 2017, so it was 39 cents. So this one here is true. But the other part of the story, we say today, under President George, we had the current is selling it for 15 cents. It's not true. Other story that we want you to know, that the person who can talk for the government of Liberia or information minister to say that he can't even talk with the president or he can't even see the president to even say reach to him. This particular story here, people took it from the radio station they call OKFM. They called the minister to find out what was really going on because people in the ministry there decided to make protests. They say their money was small and the government must try to put their money up. So the how come they put the story up and say, Minister of Information say, if he said there is no sufficient money for him to run the Ministry of Information. So TSM decided to find out whether this one is true or is not true. The story that we're talking to you about, that one news group on internet they call Drunk News, that they didn't want to put the story here up. The Minister of Information that we're talking about is Ledger Hu Rennie. So TSM check and find out that the story that the Drunk News put out on the internet, some of it true and some of it not true. The portion about it that is not true is to the minister to say that he cannot even see the president. He can't reach the president or he can't see the president. TSM found out that this one here is not true. But the part that TSM found out that is true that the minister say is no sufficient money to run the Ministry of Information. This one here is true. He says so. One other story that TSM decided to check to know whether it's true or it's not true was the story that came up when the president of Liberia, President George Weah, was not here when he went to the European country they call France. While he was there, news say he write a letter to the lawmaker House of Senators telling them that they must let him stay more than the time that he was going to stay because the meeting he went for, the people pushed the meeting in front. This was the story that the people who put the story outside say it was a lie. The people didn't push the meeting in front, but that the president just wanted to stay, so he lied to the senators. When TSM went to find out, talking to the people who are working around the president, for example, or even the letter that the president read, they found out that the people who say the president lied, they are the ones that tell the lie. That is true. The people pushed the meeting in front and the president not lied to the senators in a letter. The people put a story up concerning the Lone Star and say that the Lone Star has some kind of computer game that you must play. And when you win, you will get money. You will win a prize or you will get some, they will give you money. Those people who do that kind of thing, they even say put a kind of false game on the internet. And then they start to send message to each other to say, I finished winning. MTN put this game here up, and I play it, and I win. Mind you, this is the internet. This is where people can really fool you and then break in your secret to the bank and the bank account. If you give it to them, they will go on to steal all your money. So TSM decided to find out. They went to find out. We checked with the people at the Lone Star office, what they call the MTN. That people, they put the paper outside straight away to say that particular thing that was going on that was on the internet, it was so loud, and nobody must pay attention to these people. When you do that, you will let people cheat you and steal up all your money. This news group, they call Drunk News, put some other story outside concerning the Minister of Finance, Mr. Samuel Toy. And the story they put out about Toy, they say, Toy say he signed a check for President Weah to do the travel, where he traveled the other day out of the country. But he Toy, he put okay on the check, but he not see the amount of money that on it. He just signed it and give it to the Pope for them to draw the money from the bank and give it to the president to go. So TSM decided to find out that yes, it is true. Minister Toye says so that he okay a check, but he not look at the money to know. He see the figure. He just signed and gave the check, so it is true. Then the internet bring another story concerning the old president of Liberia, President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf. They say she died the other day. So TSM hearing the thing here, so that the old president of Liberia, whole president would just die like that. How it happened? They decided to check. In fact, before TSM would start checking, one old minister for learning matter or minister of education, George Wendell, who was minister of education when Ellen Johnson said he was president, came on the internet and write something and say it was not true that the president died. In fact, the president, they said she was waiting for time. She was in America and was waiting for time that would reach so that she can go to a meeting, a special kind of meeting, so she would give a talk there. That's why George Wendell said. So with all these things going backward and forward, TSM decided to check, and when TSM checked, decided first to check with the American government house in Liberia here called the U.S. Embassy. The U.S. Embassy turned around and said, no, that particular meeting that you're talking about to say that Master is supposed to go there, we get no idea about it. They don't know whether that kind of meeting was going on. Anyway, they say the group that people say were going to put a meeting down, they got their address for it, and they give it to TSM to check for ourselves. But then while TSM was checking, decided to check with all these people, then there was a message that came on the internet from the old president, Mama Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, to say that she's still living, she ain't died. Also, TSM decided to check that particular thing, whether that particular message came from the old president, because it was on Twitter. When TSM went to check, it was true. It came from the president Twitter that she was living. So the story there is that the thing where the people talk that the old president said he died, is not true. The old president ain't died. She living. Then on the internet again, one news group called the Liberia Influence, they decided to put a story there concerning this Miss Liberia thing that been going on. The present Miss Liberia, one young girl they call Varalyn Voller, the few times that was her birthday, so this group decided to send her birthday message. And in that birthday message, they write and say Varalyn Voller was the first Miss Liberia. You will know that particular story, even if you don't know, sir, I mean, you now will go to school, sir, you will know that not true. This small girl is 21 years old. So if she can be the first Miss Liberia, that means Liberia be waiting until the girl was born, and a few times she be 21 before they do Miss Liberia. So TSM went to check that and found out that it is not true. In fact, they find out that the Miss Liberia, the first time they do it, they started it from 1962. And from 1962, going up to today that Violent Volley become the Miss Liberia. There are about 27 women there who became Miss Liberia. Violent Volley, the last one, who's still holding the crown now. So those people, TSM found out their names. They started from that place, and we want to read the names to you so that you will know it. Number 1, Agnes Elizabeth Anderson, Ethel Zoe Norman, Norman Dorothy Davis, Melvilla Maddie Harris, Willamita Branell, Antoinette Coleman, Mae Musa Wires, Cecilia King, Maria Johnson, Aurelia Sanko, Lorraine Wede Johnson, Wilma Albertine Campbell, Annie Broderick, Sarah Lorraine Houghton, Ollie White, Sarah Elizabeth Buchanan, Joyce Johnson, Olivia Precious Cooper, Sebat Esther Topman, Snotty Muna 4, Patrice Demo Joa, Bendu Parker, Shirina Rossi Weir, Minashi Subrani, Lida Nolan, Woki Dolo, and now the last person we're talking about, Varalane Volley. So you can see that 27 people passed now, so that is not a true story. One other story came out again. Remember, we're telling you about the internet where people can throw anything, wishing or hoping that they can win you and steal your money. The world football competition that was going on, they call the FIFA competition. They say people on the internet, they were dividing data. Group of people will divide data, so it will help you watch the football game on your phone. They put in all kind of places where you must click to go and get. And all these things, we want to tell you that it was so trick that the people were trying to see how they can steal your money. So TSM decided to check, and particularly check this one here, to find out that it was complete lie, because we talked to the FIFA people that are in Liberia and even in Europe when the thing was going on, they said they were not doing anything like that. So the last story that came on the internet that we want to talk to you about is some kind of water. People putting water in bottle now. So one bottle water that comes from this country, they call Tanzania, and they call it Dew, the Dew Bottle Water Company. Story came up and said this Dew Bottle Water, people drank it in Tanzania and they died. It was full of poison and other things, and that this water was already in Liberia and people were selling it. So TSM decided to find out. Now, what you see there, they were telling you is they wrote this particular thing on the message and say, hello, please pass this message on to anybody who reading it, that there is a bottled water from Tanzania that is killing people, but it's here in Liberia. But TSM decided to check whether that particular water was here in Liberia. And when they went to check, they didn't see no proof that that kind of water people were selling it here in Liberia. So it is not true. What they find out is that water in Tanzania, they started making it in 2011. And from that time on, nobody can prove that that kind of water is in Liberia here, the Dew bottled water. So that's all we get time for you on this message from the TSM. We want you to continue to listen. The way the story will come, we will talk to you about it, and the one that is true, that the one that is not true, we'll check all that and bring it to you. Thank you for putting your ear down. My name is Sayo Watosin, your special Liberia English friend from the TSM. Thank you.